Our film today tells the legend of the 10 rings possessed by this man. Some say he found them in a pit, while others claim he stole them. These rings bestowed upon him extraordinary powers and the gift of immortality. He could have used them for good, but all he desired was power, leading him to form an army he named the 10 Rings Army. Over the centuries, this army spread its influence across the world, influencing entire governments and altering the course of history. 1,000 years later, wealth and power were no longer enough for him. He sought a mythical village called Talo, where people trained in martial arts from a young age, under the guidance of their families. Those who now aspire to reach this village employ any means necessary to get there, gathering followers and venturing into the magical forest surrounding it. However, the trees close in on them, and their vehicles fail, but they manage to escape on foot before the vehicles crash. In the forest, they encounter a young woman standing at the entrance to the mystical village. She sternly informs them that they are not welcome and must leave. He, however, begins to harness the power of the 10 rings, engaging in combat with the young woman. During the battle, he finds himself captivated by her unique fighting style, and she, in turn, becomes intrigued by him. He soon realizes that he is the most powerful man on earth, but the young woman teaches him a harsh lesson, defeating him soundly. Yet, despite the defeat, they eventually marry and have a son and daughter. As the son grows, his mother tells him about his father and the legend of the 10 rings, giving him a special amulet. She tells him that one day, if he ever feels lost, the amulet will guide him back to his true path. Years later, the son, named Sean, becomes a security guard, and his partner is Katie, a spirited driver who loves any car that catches her fancy, even if it's not hers. Katie is also Sean's friend, and they spend most of their time together. Sean often goes to her house to pick her up and drive to work, chatting as they go. One day, a stranger approaches Sean and demands the amulet. Sean tries to resist, but the stranger manages to steal it. However, Sean gets a lead from the stranger's message and decides to travel to his homeland to save his sister from these people. He tells Katie about his mission, and she is surprised to learn that he has a sister. She offers to accompany him, and they set off on a journey together. When they arrive at the address mentioned in the message, they find themselves in a place with fighting rings and bets. Sean is coerced into fighting in a match, and he impresses the crowd with his combat skills. A girl enters the fighting ring to challenge Sean, and to his amazement, it's his sister Zoe. She defeats him in an intense battle, leaving him astounded by her skills. After the match, Sean asks her why she did that, but she doesn't respond and continues to attack him, ultimately defeating him once again. After the fight, Scene questions her actions, but she doesn't listen and keeps attacking him, defeating him again. In the end, he asks her why she's doing this, and she reveals that she is the owner of this place, and the entire area belongs to her. Sean realizes that he has returned to his true path and gains control over the 10 rings. He confronts the man who stole his amulet, and with the power of the rings, he defeats him. Sean, Katie, and Zoe leave the place together, and Sean's amulet guides them towards a new adventure. Your father sold his men, and they took the contract from me. Surely they came here to take your contract as well. Your sister blames you and says, "Do you remember the old days when you told me you'd come back after 3 days? I waited for you by Mother's grave for 6 years, and you never returned. After that, I ran away and came here. I built this place on my own, and now I don't need you." He responds, "Well, why didn't you send me a message then?" She says, "What message? I didn't send anything," and shows him the response she received. Suddenly, people attack the place they are in, and the sister abandons him and flees. He wonders, did she break this window? He takes Kitty and brings her down from the scaffold, and the people who attacked the place also enter. Shen engages in combat with them, and one of them tries to strike Kitty, but he cuts the scaffold's rope, saving her. The sister rescues him, And then one of the attackers takes the contract from her, engaging in combat with Shen. Shen manages to defeat him, and he attempts to kill him, but their father suddenly appears and stops him. Shen realizes that these people are from their father's side, and the man hands the contract to their father, who greets him saying, "I missed you." Their father takes Shen and his sister with him on the plane, and he tells his army that his son has returned home. They arrive at their palace, and he tells Kitty to stay in the room. He tells Shen that he has seen much and little, but that his father is incomparable. Shen then revisits the place where he used to train when he was young, reminiscing about the old days. His hand bleeds, reminding him of his father, who took care of his injuries. Shen looks at the 10 rings on his father's hand, and his father says that if Shen wants them someday, he must prove himself strong enough. They all sit down to eat, and the sister asks how he found them. Their father says he knows their whereabouts. Meanwhile, Kitty recognizes her mother in the past, and their father begins to tell them about the 10 rings, their incredible power, and his over 1,000 years of life. He speaks about their mother, how she changed everything for him, and how he loved her profoundly. He talks about leaving the rings to live a normal life with her, their marriage, and the birth of Shen and his sister. They had been living a regular life like any married couple. Finally, something that could age him and take his life away for her. He reveals his real name and where he came from, stating that his wife named him that. He takes them to the library, revealing that he had started communicating with her and studying her village, Talo, and the legendary entrance. She tells them about the entrance, which will open in 3 days, and she knows the way through the maze leading to the door. Shen brought them there to help retrieve her. One of them asks what he'll do if they refuse to open the door. Shen says they'll burn the village to the ground. The sister objects to this, and their father hits and beats her. He orders the soldiers to take them and imprison them. While in captivity, they suddenly hear a voice, and they go to investigate. They find a man talking to himself, and Kitty asks him who he is. He says, "I am Trevor," and explains that he has been imprisoned here for years. Suddenly, a strange creature appears, and Shen, Morris, and Trevor are terrified. Morris tells Shen that they understand him, and Morris tells them that he grew up with their mother in Talo. When their father took her from the forest while looking for the village entrance, a blind man told him that he wanted him to take Shen back and bring him here again. Kitty asks, "What are you telling him?" Morris replies that he is the only one who understands and communicates with him. Trevor tells Shen that he knows him and asks him to take him back. Suddenly, while they are talking, the creature makes an opening in the wall and tells them that they can escape through the tunnels in the house. They all rush to the car and escape, with Abu Sef seeing them but unable to catch them. Their father sees them and they drive away, evading capture. Abu Sef orders his men to prepare for war and enters the village. Morris guides Shen and his sister, stating that they must pass through the maze to reach the door. Morris then says that they can escape through the tunnels and disappears. Shen, Kitty, and his sister start driving the cars, with Abu Sef pursuing them. They manage to get away from him. Their father sees them fleeing and says that Abu Sef should prepare his men for war. As they approach the entrance, Morris informs them that it is behind the waterfall and leads them inside. They find a pool with mystical properties, and suddenly a wave forms. The water flows, and their car emerges from it as they enter the magical village of Talo, where they witness fantastical things. They turn out to be the Mars family and continue until they reach the village's houses. The village residents are waiting for them. They disembark from the car, and Chang introduces himself to them. However, the elder man insists he should leave, as he is not welcome. But Stadio intervenes, asking them to calm down, and she introduces Chang and his sister to them, revealing that she is their aunt named Nan. Nan takes them in and explains the village's history. The village has existed for 4,000 years and its purpose is to guard the gateway behind which a mysterious being resides. If released, it could destroy the entire planet. Chang tells her that his father thinks they are holding the gateway's secrets, and he intends to come and take them. Nan explains that the strange sounds he hears are a result of the being beyond the gateway, deceiving his father into opening it. While they are there, Chang and his sister receive training. Chang learns archery and other mystical skills from his aunt, which he was previously unaware of. Meanwhile, he occasionally daydreams about his mother while wearing the rings. Suddenly, people arrive and tell Chang to stay with his sister. They confront his father, who has come with his army to destroy the village. Chang's aunt tells his father that his wife is not present, and the voice he hears is coming from the being. Despite this, his father is determined to reach the gateway by any means necessary, initiating a battle. The people of the village join forces with the rings bearers in a large battle. Chang's father goes toward the gateway, but Chang follows him. They engage in combat, with Chang using the village's magical techniques to gain the upper hand. After a fierce battle, Chang overcomes his father and gains control of the 10 rings. Suddenly, a giant creature emerges from behind the gateway and attacks them. However, Chang's father comes to his rescue. The creature begins to drain Chang's father's life force, but Chang intervenes and uses his newly acquired powers to stop his father from dying. He then continues the battle against the creature, using the village's magical techniques. In the midst of the battle, Chang is able to take control of the creature. His sister, riding a dragon, joins him in the fight. Together, they pursue the creature, which is headed for the village. The dragon attempts to drown the creature in the water, but smaller creatures arrive and release the captured souls. Chang manages to subdue the creature with the help of his sister, and the dragon retrieves them both. Unfortunately, many people from the village have lost their lives. Chang, holding his sister, embraces Kitty, and they gather everyone at night to light candles for the souls of the deceased. They pay their respects, and the film concludes. I hope you enjoyed the film, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. Goodbye!